Hello, friends. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the Saga skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. I'm joined by Monty. How's it going, man?
It is going excellent, Rodge. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty darn good. Been busy this last month with real world stuff.
Yes, you have.
Vacation time. I was out of the country, made it back. They let me in, so that was good.
Pretty good deal.
Had a big Infinity tournament that I ran. Went off pretty well. So fortunately, Saga playing and painting hasn't really amounted to much since Adepticon. But in the month of May here, I'm looking for a big push here, Monty.
I think it'll happen.
We'll see if I can match you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Your productivity for at least 1 month. I'll see if I can do it. Today we're going to talk about a couple different things. We got the paint contest to wrap up. We got 14 entries there. That is a new record. I think it was 13 last time. So yeah, that's cool. We're going to talk some Saga Etiquette stuff. Kind of best practices from a couple of old pros.
Okay.
I guess I'm including myself in that.
That would be us.
Yeah, right? But before that, Monty, do you have any Saga news? Anything on the horizon?
So we know your event is coming up, and I'm hearing from more and more people, you're going to have a good head count if these people are all ringing in and paying their deposits.
Yeah, a couple more folks signed up, so I kind of been waiting for my Infinity event to be over, but now I'm gonna be sending out personal messages, breaking knees, getting people signed up the old-fashioned way, hitting the pavement. So we'll see how it's going to turn out there, but it should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. June 18th, 2022, Age of Magic, and the details for that are all on the Discord in the tournament packets section. I'm still working on the website, Monty. I got a couple projects in May here.
That's okay.
But we'll get that up again. And then I guess lastly, the Shield Maidens, Monty, they're back on the market. So I had a chat with JP. So he is the winner of the Patreon Quarterly.
Right.
And we had a chat, and he likes the models, but he's thinking it'd be cool to do a Ukraine fundraiser of some kind, like a raffle type thing. So I was thinking about it. These are some fun models, but not the models I would use to maximize donations and such. So I'm going to be putting the Shield Maidens back in the prize pool for the Patreon, and then I'm going to be doing some actual V&V miniatures, so they are from Ukraine. I'm going to be doing Berserkers. I already have them. So they're on my paint desk being glued together, and I can give them some blue and yellow shields, Monty, really go all in.
Yes.
And we'll have a raffle of some kind for these.
That's awesome.
Over the next month. So I want to get it started before the next monthly episode. So look for that in the middle of May. Yeah, I'll post it on social media, the Discord and stuff. So, just keep an eye out for that for a good cause. And looking forward to it. On the Shield Maidens, I did use contrast paints.
Right.
And I picked up the Army Painter speed paints already. And I'm going to be using those as part of my process on the Berserkers. And then I'm going to be using them. I'm planning to use them on my Chaos Dwarfs, which is the big May project. So by the time we meet, for the June episode, we can do some paint and talk. How does that sound?
I love it. I wanna hear what you think and what you've learned and see what you do with that.
Yeah. So far I'm liking it, digging it. But yeah. We'll see. We'll report back. We'll have a big painting episode next time. But for this one, let's move on. And actually, Monty, I do have an extra little topic to sneak in on you.
Uh-oh.
I realized I had a scenario already made up from a couple of weeks ago. So if you remember, I had a goal where I'm redoing all of the Book of Battles scenarios. And, yeah, I kind of, if I don't do one every month, it's going to be a very long project. So I'm going to sneak this in here before we start talking about etiquette. But this one is called Pilgrim's Path, and it's a reimagining of the ambush scenario. So for ambush, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a good scenario straight up.
Right.
You know, on some of these other ones, I've done tweaks to, you know, kind of quote unquote fix them. But for ambush, I couldn't really think of anything that needed to be fixed or anything like that. So this one is just a wholesale change theme you'll see here in a second. So this one will just be a fun one to try. I don't think it's a good, well, it could be a good tournament scenario. But basically, we're going to start out like ambush, same terrain, same markers on the board. They're going to kind of move across the same way. But here's the fun, Monty. Instead of just that generic profile, you're going to roll a d6 for each of those objective markers walking across. And then you're going to consult the table here. And each one of them is going to be one of the old feud challengers.
Wow. Okay. I like it. I already like this. This is good.
Yeah, one of them could be the soldier, the counselor, the traitor. Yeah, the brute. Yeah, don't want to mess with that guy. Jeez. So there is a couple little tweaks that had to be made to, you know, kind of make sure they still had their flavor and rules and stuff. The one that I like the most is the princess. So she doesn't have resilience in her rule set. So you could just kill her in one hit, basically. Now, in the scenario, she has bodyguards. So, you know, you'll keep her alive. And her bodyguards can be anything, you know, levy or whatever. So the princess, if you roll her, she has a retinue of D6 plus 5 followers. And so she forms a heroic unit, and they form like a little line. And they have an armor of 3 and aggression of a half. So, you know, if there's a big unit of them, you know, could have 4 or 5 or 6 attacks. You got to kill all the followers before you can get to the princess. So,
wow,
I thought that one was kind of fun.
I like this.
That's about it. Everything else is basically the same. So, but I just made it so you could use them. Yeah, so it's not too crazy because you kind of know the gist of the challengers and kind of, you know, what their stats are. I didn't really change them at all. So I did have one of the options here, Monty, is called Royal Procession. And you have a princess in the middle with 11 followers and then a brute on either side. And then they all roll together. And then you can't target the princess with shooting or charges if you can target a brute.
Okay.
Instead. So
gonna have to get through the screen.
Yeah, that one, yeah, it'd be pretty nasty. That's probably more of an Age of Magic one where you have the excess troops to send them into the brute buzzsaw. But yeah, I'll have that posted up on the Discord. It's a fun version to give a shot. Is it balanced? I don't know. Could be, but
challenging for both players.
Yeah, it could be fun. Never know what you're gonna get. So
yeah,
I think that's the 3rd or 4th one that I've done. So nice. I think by the end of the year I should get through all 10 of those ones. So
excellent.
Yeah, sharing the fun here. All right, let's move on to Saga Etiquette here.
Okay.
So did we do this once or not?
You know, we've been all over the map. I don't think we did etiquette.
Yeah, so this is kind of, you know, we're veterans, we kind of know how it goes and the flow. And so this is more kind of like best practices kind of thing. If you're not doing this stuff, you're not wrong, not to do it, just to give you ideas and
right.
Stuff like that. So I don't know. I haven't really elaborated.
No, not at all.
Etiquette.
We're going to be winging it here a little.
Besides that, so hopefully we're on the same page here.
Right,
but
right.
What I like to do, Monty, is at the start of the game, count out my points of warriors, Hearthguard, and levy, just off on the side there, so you can see the bodies before they're split into units, because then it becomes a little more difficult to just make sure that I have the right number of troops on the board. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you do something similar, Monty?
That's perfect. I would say like when we're playing like kind of like a little bit friendly Saga, may not remember that all the time, but as the seriousness of it goes up, yes. I have them out, I have the points, and you can kind of, point out how do you get to your 6 points. And that is a great first step, because I can say in one of my first tournaments, I left a point in the box. That was not good.
Yeah, so it's for both of you.
Yes, it's for both. Exactly.
Yeah, it's probably more likely that you forget a point, really.
Exactly.
From what I've seen, versus, but sometimes people do come out with 7 points in the 6 point game. So yeah, line them up. The warriors are in groups of 8, and then the Hearthguard groups of 4, the levy groups of 12, because frequently I do split the warriors up into 6 packs, and then
right.
After deployment, trying to do the same thing becomes a little more difficult to get the numbers right. So, and then I try to lead my opponent to the same process. Oh, what you got there? How many points of Hearthguard, levy? So they may already be deployed at that point, but I think it's a good practice to get into, just counting the points before the game begins. Any other pregame stuff that you would say, Monty, that you do?
We're talking about etiquette, and and it's it's a wide universe of etiquette in our own local play. And again, it gets to the issue of more like, what do we do and how do you want to play, and you and your buddies make that call. I'm always in my mind trying to find a middle of the road all comers build. So I already in my mind have already figured out what I want to put. I just at the table's edge, that's when I take that build that I already have in my mind and I split out do I want to try to get more dice? But I don't walk up to the table, look at my buddy's build, and then reach into my box and find the perfect antidote, if that makes sense. Right. And what, if that's how you want to do it, you certainly can do that. But in my friendly matches, since you're kind of rolling up, and some of my buddies, we have deep benches with, there might be 9, 10 points in that box that we're not trying to be cagey. And actually we've gotten so casual. I tell my buddies, I'm bring what you want. And sometimes to your point, Rodge, when you talk about where you're kind of on a run of wins, I will tell my buddies straight up, I'll say, I want to try X, bring anything you want. And then, like you said, to kind of throw them just a couple things to help out. I'll maybe say, I'm going to run no mercs, but you can take a point if you want. And how about you pick the scenario?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So you're saying you kind of, and I think maybe a lot of players end up playing like this. If you play a lot, you kind of have an all-comers kind of build that you probably are going to use for an event, or something like that. And so for the weekly games, you're not digging in the box to grab the perfect counter necessarily. But although Saga, the rules of the game, would say that's perfectly fine. So I guess I would say, Monty's way isn't necessarily the right way, but as long as everybody's on the same page, that's the important thing. So, you're looking for a challenge, you're a skilled player and you don't need to tailor your list. But I guess if you have a group of guys, you're just getting into it. We just establish, are you going to try to tailor your lists and, maybe select the factions based off what the other guy's doing? Just try to get on the same page with that. So I think that's a good idea. Does that make sense?
It does. And can I share just a little anecdote? Like, this is the other end of it, right? We're talking about like a spectrum of choices, and most all of them are good, right? Like whatever the two players decide on. I have a buddy, and I won't name because I think it's possible both players might listen, but he told me once a story that his buddy would say, "What are you bringing?" And then he would say what he was bringing, and then his buddy wouldn't say what he was bringing, and it would always seem to be the perfect foil. Like he'd like put some thought into it. And so then the story goes that like one day when he said, "What are you bringing?" and he named something and he had no intention of bringing that. And he brought the foil to the foil. Yes.
Nice.
So, and they're two regular players. This is all fine. These are two guys who play each other, week in and week out. But he said he had to shake things up and start going, cloaking his decision because his buddies seemed to be kind of dialing it up and picking the, counter to it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I've actually have heard that same story across different players and game systems, since time immemorial for the war gamers. So I'm not surprised by that. Okay. I guess one other kind of pre-game thing that I like to do is just kind of go over the scenario real quick, like almost just kind of talk out loud to yourself, especially the like victory conditions part. So, or, if I identify that something is like weird with the scenario, or, oh, that's different, and kind of just make sure the other guy's aware of it. And, we're kind of fighting the same battle. And that halfway through, he's not like, oh, that's how, well, that changed it, So I think that's a good habit to get into. What do you think about that, Monty?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And especially like the newer the player who might be across from me, the more I'll drill down to that. Like with with some of my buddies, we do this all the time. We'll still talk it through because to me, these friendly games are a learning opportunity for both of us. And I might even chat about like, oh yeah, I remember last time I tried to do X and that failed miserably. So, I might even like just be upfront and say, maybe this works. Just kind of like talking, filling the space, like reminding everyone what what happened before, what might happen, and level set and get in there. That's good. Like it.
I think that's good. I guess for pre-game, that's about it for me. You're good there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I would only say like there's the, depending on where you're at, sometimes there's the decision, alcoholic beverage, no alcoholic beverage. and for me, if it's as they become a little more serious, it's no alcoholic beverage if I want to actually learn.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that, I don't know, kind of what we've been talking about is kind of general, just wargaming etiquette, I would say. But the next one I would say for Saga is be generous with your Saga sticks. Help them out, especially for maneuvers. So put down the long, away from your guys. Try to suss out what they're doing there. Loan them that extra medium. Be generous with the sticks, Monty.
Yeah.
And then I guess as far as movement goes, just being really clear about, there's pre-measuring is allowed, but anytime they're getting close, I say, so you're in medium or outside of medium? Basically, like every time, just verbally confirming, kind of forcing them to make a decision.
Right. That's
whether
good.
they want to be or not, make them think about it. So that they're playing their best. So I'd probably say that 5 or 10 times a game. And, so they're just in medium? And then, well, actually, no, they're just going to be just over medium here. So lots riding on that range, but confirming the intent is something that you definitely want to do in Saga, and especially with pre-measuring, they should be able to put them exactly where they want. As far as movement or before we get to combat, anything jumping out to you, Monty?
Before movement and combat, no, not really. It's I mean, the pattern I think we're establishing here is just robust communication. It's a friendly game.
Mm-hmm.
Make it friendly. More talk is just kind of clarifying, and it's the shared experience, and you're helping make a good game for both of you.
Mm-hmm. And then I actually do have another one, which is the when you have fatigue on your units, before moving them, basically asking your opponent every time, because as soon as you move one, you're kind of, this will come up a little bit later, you're kind of giving them a clue as to what you're up to, and you can be kind of planting a seed. So it's really, for both players, because once you start moving the models too, then he says, "Oh, I will, do it." Well, I've already moved, it's probably fine. You can, we kind of know where they were, but just having them, move the exact distance of the short, not moving them along and then backtracking 8 inches after the fact. So, this one, you get excited, you're in a rush. I forget to do this one quite frequently, but you really should be doing it every time if your opponent's not piping up. What do you think of that, Monty?
Agree. You're just giving them one more opportunity. Although I will say, when you play a lot, you can tell from your buddy's tone of voice that he wants you to spend the fatigue. And so I kind of smirk and I go, I will not.
Yeah, that is fatigue. Frequently the thing, please spend the fatigue. Right. It's not going to bother me that much right now. Please, please use it. It doesn't come up often, but especially if you're going to move a warlord or something, especially a single model, because once you move it, you really did lose that place of that model. So you go, 8. Yeah, I will reduce it to short. Yeah. So that's something that I would recommend doing. Let's get into combat here, Monty. One thing that I will always bring up, whether attacker or defender, is, do you want to close ranks? Because people want to jump straight to burning a saga ability, and it's an important step. We just gotta confirm, whether they think about it, because once you start spending saga ability, it really shouldn't be going back, in my opinion. So try to clarify that up front. Anything in melee here, Monty?
Right. So this is just me, and it's just for simplicity, and especially if you're going to play more than one game in a day, we kind of have like a little rhythm. Combat is started. You get your base dice. Both people are getting their base dice. Then it's the close ranks question, whether it's me or the other person, that just comes up. And then I have a little 3D printed, like a little shield with 2 dice holders, and I'll drop one on a dice face that shows his armor and one that shows my armor, because there's just this constant, armor up, armor down.
Yes.
And where's the armor? And then also splitting it out separately, having a little +1, -1 in case there's an exhaustion factor or, heavy weapon, and just be able to, like, just before the dice are rolled, like, we've walked through this, we all understand what it is, and then, like, here's your number, and then roll your dice.
Yes, that's a great idea. Most of my opponents do that. I don't proactively do it, but it's something that I should do. Sometimes you can feel like you can hold it all in your memory, but right before you roll, actually it's 4. It's 4s, not 5. So that's a good idea. Having the dice out with the armor numbers, and then you really do need a +1, -1. You can't factor it into the armor, because the math can get screwy at the low end and the high end. You can go to armor 6, but with a +1, you'll be hit on a 5+ regardless. So if you do it incorrectly, you could add the +1 to the armor from 5 to 6. goes down, and then spend a fatigue to take it up to set. Yeah, it's just got to have the +1, -1 indicated, or else you're going to get a little off there. Yeah, I will, just confirm with my opponent. Are you going to play anything? Pass, that kind of thing. I will really try to make sure not to jump the gun. If you play your ability, sometimes the defender will play an ability before the attack guy's even done anything. It's kind of, that kind of happens. You get excited. You say you're going to use it regardless, but it kind of does give information. People might reconsider.
Yeah, it does.
Well, if you're going to do that, well, then I'll do this. But try to stick to the order and kind of just prompt your opponent. Are you going to play anything? I've got, now this one especially, Monty, I do have a fatigue here. You'd be amazed how often people miss the fatigues, because your little dice pool and stuff is usually off to the side, and that's where your armor dice are set. So just reminding your opponent about fatigues, I think, is a good situation. And I will with newer players, especially. It's like, well, I am going to take a fatigue at the end of the combat, so I'm going to be exhausted anyways, so you might as well spend one right now. You can kind of lead them along.
Nice.
I think that's good. I guess for actually rolling the dice. So Saga, you do roll simultaneously, but I will always roll and then not touch my dice and let my opponent pick up their dice first, and then so they can look at my dice and see, because we're both doing it simultaneously, it all comes up. Oh, that's actually a 4 there. That one's a 3. It actually missed, or
Good point.
So I will. It's supposed to be done simultaneous, but I typically won't touch my dice, so we can both count up our hits, and we're both looking, and then there's no confusion. Those rogue 4s and 5s, that get mixed in, just make sure you get the right number of hits.
Right.
I like to do it that way. Same with the defense dice. Bonnie, anything there? How do you like to do it?
Yeah, pretty close. So I think just a couple things. We have some kind of cool Saga themed dice that we've gotten from events, and when they have a facing, or does that mean a 1 or a 6?
Oh yeah.
So make clear, if it's a new player, they know it's a 6. Our old hands know they're 6s, right? Then the next thing I would say is we move along at a pretty good clip, and our little amongst my friends, we tend to roll. We'll roll kind of close together, and then I will always say picking up my misses, and then careful and not touching the hits, leaving them all out there.
Yes, you can definitely do it that way. Never pick up the hits.
Never, right?
Just pick up the misses.
Exactly.
And then that way, it'll just be, if you make a mistake, it'll be not in your favor.
Exactly. If there's a 4 out there and it should be 5s, that they'll see it and they'll be like, yeah, that's not a hit. But just one other thing, to your point, as the game gets tighter and it comes down to some really crucial moment, and I think it's just part of the epic arc of a game, there often does come a time when the attacker says, so if you want me to go first here, let me just do this, and then one person or the other gets sees the whole thing, then their turn comes. But in the middle of the game, it seems like we roll kind of simultaneously, and it's only when the crucial clash, the warlord's at risk, he's at risk of dying, that maybe we slow it down a bit and do, you roll, then I roll. I mean, I kind of follow the lead of my opponent when it comes to that.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Do you, this one I don't have a preference for, but do you establish how many defense dice succeeds or fails need to be for the unit to be eliminated? I don't know. I don't think you need to do that, but you're okay, I have to make 7 of these to survive. I guess that's something I always say out loud.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do that,
Right,
but
right.
I always like to say that too. Yep. Oh, you coming into the levee? All right, I got to make 7 saves here to survive. Yeah, I just have 1 guy left. Seems to give me good luck. I don't know.
Oh man. Okay, that's it. That's the secret.
The secret sauce there. And then I guess another thing for dice, we're kind of out of order now a bit. Before rolling, I do like to say out loud something like, okay, you got 12 dice hitting on 5s. I have 4 dice hitting on 6s with a reroll, or and then just getting the confirmation, and then we roll. So I think that's a good way to roll.
Really, really good idea. If I can sneak in one other thing, since we're on the subject of dice, and again, I tend to follow the lead of my opponent. I don't get too tied up about any of these one issues, but I understand like this becomes more important in tournament play. And actually, maybe it's a good idea if you're in a tournament that you just clarify a few of these things just real quickly as you come to the table. You might just say, how do you feel about cocked dice? Like, what is a cocked dice? One approach is, if it's not flat on the table, flat, I will pick it up. Because then the other one is I've seen where people go, well, if I could put a dice on it and the dice stays, you know what I mean? Then they're like, it's kind of staying, but it's not. And their fingers on it. It's like, maybe
they kind of move it a little bit when they're doing that. Yeah. I don't like that method.
So I mean, frankly, as long as you just pick a thing and stick with it, that's it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good point. And yeah, I want to go back in time, and whoever's idea that was about the dice resting thing, I'm gonna take them out, Monty, so we don't have to deal with it.
Like the Terminator, right?
Yep. Look out, coming for you.
How about it rolls off the table and you go, it's a 6?
Yeah, that's a good one, and that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of the stuff is just kind of general etiquette, I would say.
Yeah.
But for Saga, it is important to follow the order. I guess, I do frequently remind my opponent removing casualties then. Because the first one moves directly away. You don't have any control over that one. And sort of guiding them through that thought process, not offering advice, but making sure they withdraw correctly. Monty, it's a pet peeve of mine.
It's important. It's very important.
Yeah.
And it's a good habit to be in, especially like if, you don't have to, but I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, you could choose to play, your version of Saga, but it really is. It is the game within the game. It's not, I frankly, I like it. I mean, that's part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Okay. Well, that's kind of everything that I had written down. Kind of a short and sweet topic. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up, Monty?
Yeah, it's a little, I understand how this is going to be tricky, but it's something we've talked about before. So if you don't mind, I think I don't know if it's etiquette, but it's just part of something I think I would like to see in the community a little more. So I've heard from other players. Okay, first of all, I should explain my approach. I love this hobby. I love getting out and playing my buddies. I love finding and playing new opponents. And I love the fact that across the table from me, someone took the time to source an army, build that army up, base it, prime it, paint it, flock it. And wherever it stands on, the continuum of, painting skills, it's magnificent that, this person has brought a painted army out to the table. And I will take, a few minutes and talk about that with every single opponent I've ever played and every army I've seen. And I also think it's amazing when I get lucky and I get to be the first one that someone brings, a brand new army out for. It's like, whoa, I am the first person to lay eyes on this army. Good job. And I think that's a little bit, to me, a part of the hobby. Like, you talk about like your buddy's army and, say some words about that, because I have heard from quite a few people who will say, no one ever says a thing about this. There are people who even like win best painted with a warband, and then they're like, I've been playing this army for so long, and like people just walk up and there's like no discussion of painting, or like good job, or oh, those are nice, or how did you do that? And I scratch my head a little bit, but that's the other approach. Certainly, I'm not saying one approach is more valid than the other, but I've had some experiences where I've talked about someone's painting. And in one particular case, it was someone who came in second for an event, and he got choked up, like talking about like all the time he put into it and how it meant so much to him that like someone like acknowledged it, right? And talked about like
That's
his
cool.
family helped him do the basing, and like, and we're two perfect strangers. And I went away from that, and I was like, to myself, I'm like, I'm just, some of my buddies give me a little crap over it, but I'm just not going to change. That's a thing I do, and that's a thing I will continue to do.
No, that's a great idea. I mean, because we spend, probably more time actually painting the model. Some of us,
right?
I'm
Right.
one of those people. And it's a very important aspect of the hobby. So
Agreed.
yeah, that's a great idea to kind of find a little something that you can compliment or, start a discussion about. I think that's a great idea. I guess one kind of post-game thing you can do, and this is, again, kind of more general, but, well, one thing that you can do, especially in Saga, is for some reason people's math gets way off, and they think they're in a horrible losing position. So I will take the time to actually count up the troops. And, even, I'll do this because I think in my head, but you'd be surprised how often it's turn 4 or 5 and there's only like 2 points, 2 massacre points separating the people there. So if your opponent's getting kind of frowny and glum about the beating they're taking, frequently it's never as bad as you think in Saga, because you always get to fight back. They're always exposing themselves by taking a fatigue after a fight or multiple activations, so it's a very even game. So kind of counting up the points, letting them know that they're only 2 or 3 away, or vice versa. For myself, I'm only 2 or 3 away from victory, so hold in there. I guess one thing, dude, I'll always finish a game. It's kind of like a respect thing. Like you were talking about, Monty, there's a person across from me, came down here. Yep. We're going to play the game. They spent hours learning the game, hours painting the models. The least we can do is try to finish the game. So I'll always do that. I don't
right.
like quitters, Monty.
Right. Let me just sneak in one thing, and maybe it's just the thing that's happened. There have been not a lot of times, but just a handful of times where a game gets sideways so fast and so quick. And if I can kind of see, like, I mean, it's just gone really badly, and like the warlord's gone, the key units are gone. My army's singing, everything's going so well. We can, I have no problem, like especially if my buddy wants to, just let him rack them and stack them, go back, let's reset, let's go again. But the flip side of that is if a person is willing to just kind of like fight from that underdog position, I think there are some really valuable, like I don't throw the towel in. I will play it all 6 turns all the other time. But I also recognize not everyone, wants a full beatdown. So I kind of offer them the chance. But at the same time, like you're saying, Rodge, sometimes people perceive the situation worse than it is. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight that there are scenarios where you can, like, your army's being erased. But if you play the objectives, you can win the game. So don't lose sight of the objectives. When things get bad, like maybe double down on just reminding yourself, like what are the objectives? As long as you're not playing Clash of Warlords, you can fail to trade efficiently and still play the scenario more tightly and better than your opponent and still pull the game out and win. And those wins are hard-earned and well-earned.
yeah, I mean, we're rolling dice. Just
Yeah.
never know how it's going to go.
Exactly.
And
Streaks.
then I guess, yeah, I will kind of clarify my point is if I'm losing and getting beat down, I'll keep playing.
Got it.
If I'm, giving a walloping to someone and they want to call it, I'm not going to be like, hey, nope, we got turn 6 here. There's still some points on the table.
Right. Got it. Same.
So I like, in those situations, I don't care. But, if somebody's beating me, they probably lost to me a lot of times, especially local. So I don't want to, turn their victory to ashes by just ending it and not giving them a good fight.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who I used to play a lot with, but he was the master of, once you start beating him, he would just the little comments he would say and stuff would just wouldn't be fun anymore. He'd be give me a little fist bump. He'd be, oh yeah, you're real good at this game. Kind of condescendingly every time. So I don't want to be one of those guys.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I think we've about covered it. I'm sure there's Saga specific stuff that we're missing here, but that was a fun conversation. Hopefully giving newer players some ideas on things they can do within their group to kind of get everybody on the same page. But themes are open communication, repeating things loud and often, and trying to get in the same mindset. I think that's good. Let us move on, Monty, to the paint contest.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let me see if I can get this bad boy up here. Yeah, there we go. All right, if you want to check these out, head on over to the Saga Thursday Discord. Got a lot of good entries, like I said, 14 this time. Too many of these things. All right, so this was announced, I think, April 7th. And when did we get the first finished one?
17th.
10 days.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 days a model here. That's tremendous. Ooh, it's JP stuff too, wasn't it?
Right out of the gate.
He was the first one here. So these are some very lovely. Oof. What are these, Huns? Hun Hearthguard?
Footsore Huns, yes.
Footsore Huns, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really good looking. Got the sweet fade on the shields.
Mm-hmm.
Went the extra mile on the spears. A couple of them. You don't got to go the extra mile on every one of them.
Yep. No.
And did the patching on the horses there.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you do that, Monty? The different colors?
Yeah, so I do mix them in, but it might be 1 for 7, 1 for 8, like the higher end. Yeah. But I change colors, and I don't know. There's some sort of, and I mix in, excuse me, I mix in a nice amount of socks and a little bit of white on the face, and maybe a pink snout here and there, just to break it up.
Yeah, I will do the socks, but I don't think I've ever done the big splotches on them. So, yeah, that's cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on a mounted army. I'm sure there's tons of horses here.
Yep.
I guess your ratio was 1 out of 8. He's 1 for 2 here.
That's right. These are they're the Hearthguard, so maybe they get fancier ponies.
Mm-hmm. I like the medals on these guys. I like the guy on the end.
Yep. Nice shadows in there.
Yeah. But look cool. Nice work, JP.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Cinematic. All right, we got up next Sons of Heptarchy with some Hearthguard.
Yep.
Including a banner bearer.
Crusader.
These must be the Fireforge.
They look like Fireforge, yes.
I would say.
Yep.
I like the kind of the battle damage on the shields there.
Yeah, nice chipping.
Can't really figure out, how he did that. I mean, the the banner guy, he's got the kind of splotching on the top of his shield. I can see you just dab the brush, but like that along the edges of the white ones, that black, that looks really good.
I'm gonna take a guess only because I think I've seen this for World War II armor. This looks like you get a sponge, a torn sponge
in it. I've never sponged.
Yeah, that gets you a really nice chip effect, and I think that would be my guess, and I love it. That's a great trick.
Yeah, these are looking good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had to suggest improvement here, Monty, the edge of the base, in my opinion, these got to be black. What do you usually do? Are you a black edge base man?
Yeah, so this is a tricky one.
I know, some people, you might like it this way, but
right. I was going to say, there are some that do green edges. There's some people that do black. I do this, whatever my base color is, comes around on the edge. The only difference is, and it's just purely aesthetics here, is I try to keep the flock off the edges.
Yes.
And I mean, that's just a very small, it's just a small stylistic thing.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I prefer that. I think a lot of people prefer that. Sons of Heptarchy, maybe he doesn't prefer that, but that's something that I think about. All right, let's Alderman Andrews here, and this is cool. So I guess he did a great job of showing the conversion work that he did on these. So these are the Victrix Vikings. Maybe.
Yep.
I can't tell the difference between
you're exactly
the Vikings
right.
and the Anglo-Dane set.
Okay,
I don't know what the difference is. So technically it could be that, but we're going to see a lot of Vikings. Victrix Vikings are popular on here, and the conversion work here is really, really quite good. So, he drilled the hands, because the plastic is two different kinds of plastic.
Yeah,
right?
It's super clever because the things he names is bashing up. I've had all of this stuff, and at no point did I ever think I'm going to turn my Hearthguard into Welsh Hearthguard by doing X, Y, and Z. So very nice. I really like, especially on a conversion, I love getting to see the before the primer goes down, just to be able to look at the okay, so he did that, and then he did that, and kind of walk it through. Nice.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the hands that are holding two.
Yeah.
Two of them. That's
perfect.
That's tough to drill in two holes, or I don't know. Maybe you're kind of just shaving away with a knife at that point, so maybe it'd be easier to trim down the hand. Kipesh, seeing if he said what he did. Kipesh the Vikings, Anglo-Saxon, Gallic warrior kicks, arrows from Fireforged Northmen. They put together real well, and then he painted them real well too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his shields were done with scratch built. What does he say? Transfer. He made his own Welsh Dragon transfer and then highlighted the shield. So
it's a great theme that pulls them all together, right? Small dragon, large dragon, reoccurring pattern, but the green and white, very clever.
Mm-hmm.
And the basing, he went the extra steps too. He's got a little rock. He's got an arrow poking out of the ground. Right? You get to the basing sometimes, and I mean, I'm guilty of this. You'll get there, you're like, okay, you're going to get the basic basing, right? But if you take that little extra step, it really does help them shine. And those extra arrows stuck in the ground, they're playing the skirmish game there. So it works perfectly.
Yeah, that's cool. Looks good. I'm kind of curious to see what the warriors and everything else, what kind of shields he's going to use on them, what kind of paint scheme. So very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, up next, Heathen paints. He is doing some old school stuff here, Monty.
Yeah.
Look at this stuff. So these are confrontation models
Okay.
You must remember. Monty, do you remember? Were you into miniature gaming in the 90s?
No, I was a PC gamer back then.
Okay, yeah, these are some old school models. So
Okay.
these are very interesting. So it's the same model done 4 times,
Right.
which I think is a kind of a cool idea for just like challenging yourself. You know, what are 4 different ways I can do this here? So I think that first one is my favorite out of the bunch here.
That is good.
Probably the most traditional. As far, the metals are metals, but he's got a white one. Which one do you like, Monty?
So I like the first and last. The last because it's kind of an interesting muted approach, and the first one because it just pops. And I really do like. So you've got all 4 have the same pose, like that's that 90s aesthetic. But to just, you could have cranked them out and done all of them the same way, but to come in and really make them each a character, very, very clever, very nice work here.
Yeah, this has got the juices flowing because I'm going to be doing some Chaos Dwarves, and all their poses are very similar, almost identical. So I got to find ways to kind of make them different. So I don't think I'll go as far as the different schemes on these guys, but yeah, well done here. Great idea, great execution. Good to see some Age of Magic, Great Kingdoms, or are these Varangian Guard, Monty, or what are they?
That's a good question.
No, yeah,
badasses.
They're Great Kingdoms badasses.
Yeah.
All right, nice work,
Yes.
Heathen. Moving on, Victrix Gallic Cavalry from Glotkin, and nice work with the multi photos.
Yep.
Yeah, these guys look great. I
Yes,
really
they do.
like how they look. The shields are, the transfers, but the color, they're the same color scheme. That's on the same vibe as their clothes. And then on the clothes, he took the time to do the stripes.
Yes.
And everything else. So
slow work.
Well done. He's socks on some of these horses. He's a sock man.
Yep.
Just like the Rodge here. So, yeah.
And the basing too. Again, excellent basing. Got some rocks they're running over. Nice tufts. Really pop. Very sharp. Oh my gosh. Okay, and I think it's a little tricky, but I think he's even painted the horse's eyes.
Yeah. They definitely have their eyeballs. I was just looking at that. So the riders don't have eyes. Not that you need eyes on everything, but the horses.
Yeah, nice.
They're definitely bigger eyeballs. So, I like great color choices. Everything. I'm feeling the good vibes off this one. I like them. Nice work there, Glotkin. All right. Terry, Chicago Saga guy.
Yep.
Cataphracts here. These are the Gripping Beast.
Yep.
I'm guessing these are the Roman version.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yep.
So, mixed it up on the metals. Went with the gold. I think that is the good idea. If you got silver on the horses, silver on the riders.
Yeah.
They would end up pretty darn plain. Sometimes when there's too many metals on a model, it's a challenge. Like if you are going to do the metal look, but what do you like about these guys, Monty?
Yeah, I really like. I don't know when I've seen these before, but these like to me are the Proto Knights. I mean, my gosh, that's a lot of metal, and it's just awesome seeing them two-hand those lances. I adore the extra step, and it's not easy. The extra step of like painting up colorfully. They're Hearthguard, so they don't want to go into battle with just spears. They want shiny striped spears with highlights.
Yes.
So
I was
very
just
nice.
thinking that these could have been very plain if he hadn't done the stripes, and if he had the same silver. I guess another thing he could have. It looks like there's 2 black horses, 2 brown ones. Maybe he could have done some more variation on the horses, since everything else is kind of these big blocky colors, just to give a little bit more color. But yeah, overall, well done. Going the extra mile on the spears really sets them apart. Looking up to Mr. Teasdale Martin, and he's used contrast paints for the first time on some of these. So there's a pretty big conversation about how he did some of this stuff. That might be worth heading to the Discord and taking a look at in person. But these are War Games Atlantic Irish Hearthguards. And he went for the Dane axes.
Yeah.
Primarily. I think all of them are Dane axes. Yeah. Not much to say. Monty, another good job, would you say?
So I'm trying to find something here. Why did I thought I had seen something that said the Dane axe. Okay, here it is. He made the Dane axe, because I didn't remember this set having them. And that's always an issue. Like, it's a little tricky in Saga when you want to do your heavy weapon warriors, your heavy weapon Hearthguard. There are places where you can find it, but there are places where you're just scratching your head. You're like, okay, I really want this, and no one makes it. So combining, he said, just an axe head and a javelin. So we bashed these together.
Works.
I mean, I'm looking at this. I wouldn't know that they were, bashed together. The hands and everything fit perfectly.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah, there probably are hands just holding the shafts, and you can just chop up axe head. Yeah, it's tough finding the Dane axes out there. I know the Gripping Beast Viking kit has like 1 per sprue, so there's 4 of them. I did buy their like metal ones, but then it's the pewter. It can get a little bendy.
It's bendy.
So not ideal. But I never thought using javelins. They're about the right size. So you're just clipping off a little bit maybe, and then getting the axe head on there. So, yeah. Like how these guys turned out, for sure.
Lots of detail work in there. That's some fine detail work.
They look different colors, but they're pretty cohesive as a unit there. And then the little extra flowers on the base, of course.
Yep.
Going the extra mile.
Can I also say, as someone who has been shot off the table more than once by the Irish, I'm happy anytime any Irish player chooses to do non-javelin troop types. It's like, hallelujah, thank you.
So, yeah, just for sportsmanship purposes, is a good idea. I will say, I'm not against the Dane axes for the Irish, because there's 2 very strong defensive abilities that almost can really guarantee you're going to live. So the lower armor isn't a liability, and if everything is shooting, just having some really nasty heavy weapons to dish out could definitely play in to the plan. So yeah, unit wise, not a bad choice. Looking good, Martin, as always. And yeah, he's got a few tips about how he painted them on there, so well worth heading to the Discord. Next up, we got Nick Nack Naj, Victrix Roman Triari. Good to see Hannibal again. And yeah, these guys are pretty basic, but he did take the time to brush on the little swirls on the shield. I think that looks really good. If you hadn't done that, they look pretty plain, but yeah, with them on there, I think it's solid.
Agree. Hand painted shields, super time consuming, but it's a really nice touch. It always, as much time as it takes to do that, it seems to always pay out.
Yeah, I like the little purple sprouters.
Yep.
So, looking good. All right. So many painted models, Monty. Robin, 104277. 4 mounted Iberian Hearthguard.
Nice.
And these are really cool looking. Are these just the Victrix?
These are Victrix, yes.
The extra, that horse. It's not barding, but the straps and everything look really cool. Look like you did a lot there, and you did a good job with the different colors. We got a green guy with yellow straps, blue straps. red, green. Yeah, looks good. I like them.
Yep, black socks, nice basing. Looks like it's, they're coming straight out of Iberia to torment you in your turn. How unfair is that?
Yeah, and they're probably dropping off a couple warriors on the way.
Right.
It'd be awesome to do. Just thematically, like two guys on a horse, or like a guy you can pull out. Yeah, wouldn't serve any purpose, but that would look cool.
That would be kind of cool.
But yeah, the third great cavalry unit here. People are pulling out the stops.
Yeah, and I could just barely see it, but he also looks like he's got a little extra stuff on the capes. He's got, like, I could see green, it ends in yellow, the yellow with a little black. It's tricky. You can't see them from behind, so he's got some work that he's done that isn't quite, and it looks like it's also matching the color on the horse's stuff. Oh, that's clever. I see it now. Yellow, for like the far left, green with yellow, and yellow trimming on the horse there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it. And it's okay, nice. I see that.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a back photo on there. Take a look, because I think 3 of them look like they have a trim, and then that one with the red and yellow, his shield's red and yellow, kind of looks like maybe there's a little bit more going on with his cloak back there. Like it's not just a trim, like actual some kind of
stripes, maybe
stripe design. So yeah, looks cool. Thanks for the submission. All right, Love Disc Golf. We are on a streak here.
Yeah,
Hannibal streak. People getting pumped for Alexander, nice. I guess. So Greek Italiotes, they're Victrix, unarmored Greek hoplites, and thanks to everybody who submitted and then said where the models came from. So I think last time we reviewed them, we mentioned that, but when I posted the contest in the last episode, I didn't say anything about it. So we do appreciate explaining where the models come from.
Right.
Monty's got a reputation to maintain as a model expert here, and these wrong guesses don't reflect well on him.
Looks bad for the program.
Okay, so he went with unarmored hoplites for his Greek Italiotes, being light and mobile. He tried some new techniques, and they look good to me. Depending on the angle here, it's kind of tough to see what's going on. The shields are so big.
Right. That's always an issue with the Greeks. Just little stuff I can pick out, right? Because it all comes down to lighting and, and like getting that good camera shot, which is a whole art outside of painting them. Seriously, it is, right? But I could see, like, so the spear shaft has, highlights and shadows. They all have some extra work there. And the same goes for the bronze. It looks like we've got different tones and colors and shadows on that too.
Yeah, I like the little mohawks there. He alternated the white and the different color there, so you didn't have to do that, but it looks good. Went with some stripes, different designs on the different outfits there, and they look good. I've been looking at most of these models, and I talked about black edges, I think, on the second one. I think most of them haven't had. They've all been kind of tan or, more matching the base. So that might just be my personal preference playing out here. But, good models. Next up, we've got some miserable pagan Rus, Vikings. And, these guys are awesome. Really great looking. Different basing. That really works well with the stylistic kind of painting choice on the models, desaturated.
There we go.
I really like these. I like desaturated stuff probably more than the average person. I'm not sure why.
I love it. I would love to see this at the finish line when it's, say 40, 32 to 40 figures, like the whole effect. They're all going to be kind of in this theme. They're all going to be in this tight palette. They all have the commonality in the basing, and then they're all desaturated like this. I think I've seen a Warhammer. Well, I have seen a Warhammer like Elves Army, Wood Elves Army, that was like roughly in this kind of desaturated browns and simple and tight, and it's just kind of like you see it in its totality, and you're like, whoa! It takes it to a whole different level. And perfect for the theme, the whole, like you said, the dirty pagan ruse.
Yeah, they're good. He's got the free hand on the shield.
Yep.
Little birdie. Looks good. He did the actual. So the toughest part about that design, in my opinion, is the head, which is why I stopped doing that. The bird heads on mine. It's just kind of like a triangle type design when I do them.
Okay.
But yeah, he did a good job with that one, and I think he said it took longer than
right.
I struggled.
What did he say?
Did he say something about him?
I thought he did. It might be down below.
Yeah, I thought he.
Yeah.
He said something about how long it took, because
it took more attempts than is reasonable. We know that pain.
Let me bring that up because I'm like, after doing so many of those shields, when I got to the shield maidens, I just banged all those out like in one attempt and just painted it on, and so it would have been kind of painful if I messed it up on them, because it was like contrast paint underneath, so like you can't get it to match unless the base coat underneath it is like the same, or right. But I just had the cojones to power through. So yeah, I can see it definitely gets easier, my good man. So keep it up. I would love to see more bird shields, ABG. But yeah, good looking stuff here. All right, close it in. More Victrix here from Fencing Ninja. Yep. Kit Bash Norsgales, because they're so hot right now. Yeah, these are good.
Yep.
Bright, clean. The basing is very cool. Did you zoom in on that, Monty? It's like glossy, like mud, literally. Yeah, like it's not flock. It's like weird, glossy mud. It's awesome.
Okay. Yep.
It's like they're standing in a bog. Yeah, it looks good. It makes me want to paint up some Victrix stuff, because it looks like that chainmail dry brush is real good, I'm gonna guess. Some of the GB's metals hasn't been so good for dry brushing, but yeah, these are some good looking guys here.
Right.
I'm liking. The one guy's got the extra little sash there.
Yeah, really nicely done. The one looks like it's got purple, green, and blue. Really interesting combination.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, there's two of them with
pops.
The extra sashes. So yeah, did a good job trying to differentiate them from the standard Vikings. So this kid, I guess, can do a lot with this kid. The Norsgale, Welsh, Pagan Ruse, just within the contest itself here. All right. 8-bit Ace. First time painting Saga minis in a while. These are some heavy weapons, Yams Vikings. So I think one of these is a footsore at least. One of those guys is the Harold Hardrada with the two swords. I think that's a GB model.
Yep.
The two other ones, I'm not sure. I think...
No idea.
You recognize? I think the guy with the axe in the air is I don't know. It kind of has a footsore proportion. They're kind of similar proportion to that.
But I've never seen it. I spent a lot of time looking at miniatures, but yeah, anyways, interesting.
Yeah. It could be a GB. There's a lot of GB. So the GB, there's a lot of like Merc heroes that are kind of Vikingish guys. So I kind of wonder if that's where those guys came from. The two middle ones here. But yeah, quick and dirty. Mm-hmm. They look like a team, even though the models come from different lines. So, yeah, nice work.
Right, and heavy weapons, Yams Vikings. Yeah, his opponents are gonna have fun when these crash into them.
Okay, we've got Overkill.
There we go.
This might be the last one. Yeah,
I think it is.
We're at the end of the line. So these are, it's just like Gripping Beast Vikings or
so.
Anglo-Saxons, maybe based off the heads.
Plastics? Yeah, plastics, I think. Anyway.
Yeah. So get the job done.
Yep. Nice
work with the colors. That one shield looks like, reminds me of Uno. Is that the Uno box with the different squares? This one reminds me of that. Yeah, decent basin. I like how like big pictures are nowadays, like on your phone. When you look at it and the Discord, it makes it a normal size, but then when you open the original and it's zoomed in, this thing is like, if you printed it out on a piece of paper, it'd be like 3 feet by 2 feet of like a 28 millimeter model, a lot better than the old days.
Yes.
Of cameras. But overall, these guys got matching vibes, got a good feel. Not too shabby. Monty, what are your couple top picks here for you?
Ooh, this is tough. I mean, this is really tough. This is actually when I suddenly start feeling the pain that I think the people who score painting at events feel a little bit.
I know, yeah.
I mean, the monochromatic just really just jumps out. The Martin's kit bashing combined with like the fine brushwork, gorgeous. Gosh, this is really hard. The kit bashed Welsh, and then I mean we're not allowed to pick 10, but average Saga Endura, the Huns were really a treat too. So that's 4 really strong, very, but also personal votes for top stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Probably about the same 4 or 5 picks. So the ABG, the Pagan Ruse, I really like those. I think those are unique and kind of show you don't have to be super brightly painted, in my opinion, to have some really nice looking models. So I'm definitely a fan of those. I really dig the Gallic. Well, I dig just going through order here, I guess, as I look at them. But Martin Steff, always really good. Digging those guys. I like the Gallic Cavalry.
Yes.
Yeah. When I zoom in, I just really like the amount of kind of contrast and brightness and vibes I'm getting from those colors.
Yep.
I'm really liking Heathen's stuff. His is quite different from the rest of our submissions. So I like that he was doing something different there. I like the extra conversion work on the Welsh Hearthguard from Alderman Andrews, and I really like the shields, how those turned out. I think that's a cool idea. So he's kind of pushing it in a different way there. Like in the really just like the shields on the Templars, that extra weathering looks cool. Have to let us know if you did use a sponge there, my good man. I might try to replicate that. And then JP stuff, nice and bright, well painted, well lit. We did discuss beforehand it's what we were going to pick, and we went with Alderman Andrews Welsh Hearthguard. So he converted it. There probably have been conversions, but previous entries, but we thought it was something kind of different being done with these models, so we really like that. And how they were done, like converting, you can't even really tell they're conversions, because like the first time I went through, I didn't realize they were conversions. I just thought that's how they were. And then the second time through, then I'm like, oh yeah, they don't have javelins on these Victrix models. And then the extra mile with the transfer there, I think that's a cool idea, something new we haven't seen. So we kind of factor that into our tiebreaker. So congrats. He's going to get the extra points here, the mug. So that is a project for May here. I'm going to get one to JP for the last one. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. So sorry for the delay, guys, but I swear I'm going to be on it this month, and I'm going to get a bunch more made. I want to get a couple for ALLFATHER'S Day too. Some pint glasses made up for that if I can, so that'll be nice. And we're going to do the random one here. So I think I figured out a way to kind of do this live, Monty. We're kind of doing a lot of this live.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So I've assigned a number to every one of these guys. And Alderman Andrews, is he on here? He's number 3. So he already won the main one. So if I get a 3, I'm going to redo it. But I'm going to go to random.org.
Clever.
Here. And there's 14. I generated a 3. That was Alderman Andrews. So he's already getting a sweet mug. So I'm going to do that again. 13. And when I go back, 13 is 8-Bit Ace. So congratulations. You're going to get a box set from Gripping Beast. Nice work. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your entries. It was cool to look at these and chit-chat. And it's kind of like... Yeah, what's Monty's saying here? We talk so much about the games, and we talk a little bit about our painting, but we could talk about other people's painting. I think that's a good idea. Okay, so I do have some other thank yous here. Terry, Patrick, Sean, Mitchell, and Kevin. Those are our top patrons on Patreon. But as you can see from the list here, we got a lot of others contributing, and we do have another 2 additional episode month here. So we're at that threshold here for the 2nd month in a row, and we're going to reward you with some additional episodes here. And I say we because Monty is going to be on in 2 weeks from now. What day is that? The 19th. He's going to be talking the Mutatawia with me. So this was a patron request. So if you want to put in a request, you can become a patron, and I'll try to put those to the top of the list. And but next week we'll have an Irish faction review that will be on the 12th of May with Andrew Bertelsen. So nice. He's never been on before. He was nice enough to come on. Well, I guess I did record. He was the winner of Fimbulwinter, so I did record a video with him. So I guess I misspoke. But yeah, thank you to all the patrons for making that happen. Basically, we wouldn't be getting those episodes if it wasn't for those guys. And if you want to join the Heathen Army, then head on over to Patreon or pop over to the Discord. There's a lot of hot stuff going on there, Monty.
There really is. And I mean, I know you've been busy. You're world traveling, checking on your offshore accounts at the Cayman Islands, things like that, right?
I had some audit problems I needed to attend to personally.
But I look at the welcome greetings thread, and just all of a sudden, this Discord channel will just blow up with like people piling in the door. And that's just awesome. Like, that there's that high level of attention, engagement, and people playing Saga, thinking about playing Saga, planning their next army, and, thinking about their next event.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're looking for players, the Discord's where it's at. Go to the Find Players. I know there's a lot of tournaments starting to pop up. Like the UK, it looks like they have a summer of events. That's amazing. Yep. So
yes,
it's going to be awesome to hear about that. I'm sure there'll be some reports on there. And you'll be able to find the Pilgrim's Path scenario that I came up with. I'll post that on there as well. So, yeah, give it a try. It's going to be madness if you do. So just be warned. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you, Monty, for stepping up, doing a second video this month. That's very cool of you. I'll double your ration of peanuts for this month. You'll be eating well. But yeah, looking forward to next month. We're definitely gonna have some paint talk, but otherwise I'm not sure what topic we have in mind, but we'll figure it out. If you have any suggestions on that, comment below. But I think that's it, Monty. You feeling it? I think we're done. That's it. All right.
Another good one.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Saga! If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.